What is going on, you guys? It is another episode of the Sci-Fly Zone where the multiverse meets a seventh inning stretch. It's your boys Tread and CJ, and today's destination is Major League Baseball. We're going to be going over some of the firings of baseball's most notable managers, as well as discussing yet another feat Mike Trout has accomplished. If you liked or enjoyed this video, please hit the like button as it greatly helps the channel, and please don't forget to check out our shorts content as it has our videos' best and funniest moments. But let's get into the swing of things, CJ. Lead us off.
We're only a couple weeks into the season, but it's been a hectic couple of weeks already. Things are changing. Teams are making some big adjustments, especially the Red Sox and the Phillies getting out in front of it. Red Sox firing their manager, Alex Cora, managing for the Red Sox since 2018. It's been a rough start for the Red Sox. They started off this season 10-17 when Alex Cora was fired. Interesting situation with his firing because the last game that he managed, the Red Sox won 17-1. Much different Red Sox team than we'd seen so far this season. So I'm not sure if that game was the deciding factor to let Alex Cora go. It seems like it was probably a situation where they had made the decision that this was going to be Alex Cora's last game, and then it just ended up being the Red Sox best game of the season. But they are making some changes already with their new manager. They're 2-0. So you got a lot of season left, and there's plenty of time to turn things around for them.
Yeah, dude, it's actually funny enough, the largest win in a manager's final game of all time.
Wow. That is a tough stat for Alex Cora to keep, man. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what would you rather do? Would you rather have your team win that big and then you get fired, or be like Joe Madden and, get a crazy ass haircut to get your team hyped up and then you end up just getting fired anyway?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think I'll take the 17-1 win. At least he's going out with a bang. That Joe Madden situation was tough, dude. I feel bad for him.
Same. It really was not his fault, but yeah, Chad Tracy will be the interim manager for the Red Sox until they can find a permanent replacement. But it's also not him that's just leaving. We got their hitting coach, Peter Fatsi. Yes, that's his. Yeah. Their bench coach, Ramon Vasquez. Their third base coach, Kyle Hudson. Their assistant hitting coach, Dylan Lawson. Their hitting strategy coach, Joe Cronin. And also Jason Varitek got demoted. So this is almost a full system reset for the coaching staff. And it definitely could not have came any sooner because I thought the Red Sox were going to be pretty decent this year, like around 80 to 85 wins is what I had them at by the end of the season. And if they're going to be playing at this rate, they are not going to get there. Like they're already 7 games out of first place, and it's not even the end of the first month of the season. So they really do need to get a grip on this situation. I think trying something completely different is a pretty good way to go about it, so that you don't end up being 10 or 15 games back by the All-Star break.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing start to the season for the Red Sox. I also thought that they were going to be playing much better than they are right now. I know the East is a competitive division, but I figured that the Red Sox would be one of the better teams in that division, but they have just not been able to put it together, except for that one final Alex Cora game. But they need to make some changes right now, and it seems like that's exactly what they're doing because, as you mentioned, with all of those releases and all of those transactions, it really is a regime change, and they are completely flipping this franchise upside down, and they need to try something different, and that is exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, maybe they should just try changing the team name at this point.
Yeah, go back to the Red Stockings. I think that'll make it better.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this was a decision that did come from the higher ups in the organization. Cora and the higher ups were disagreeing more and more as time went on things like such as roster quality, player performance, playing time, which makes sense because if you're Alex Cora, you're the one vouching for certain players that the front office might not be vouching for because you're the one who's actually there watching them play, managing them, understanding them on a fundamental level compared to the front office who doesn't pay attention to those factors that the manager does because that's the manager's job. They get paid to focus on those things so the higher ups can focus on other things. So there's a solid chance for a disconnect to arise because numbers tell such a narrow truth versus seeing what 6 to 8 hours of work a week for like 5 or 7 games in a row sometimes, and how that affects someone. Like there's gonna be two completely different perspectives.
Yeah, totally. That's a really good point. It's a very different viewing experience for the manager who was there every single day with every single player and the higher ups at the front office who really don't have the time to watch all the games and to analyze all the players. If anything, they're mostly just going off stats and metrics and what the numbers that they're seeing on paper, which when it comes to baseball, the numbers don't always tell the full story. You really have to watch the players play and see how they perform in the game to really know who you need to go with that day. And with how intricate the job as a manager is, like it just makes it even more difficult when you can't agree with your employers about what you're supposed to do with your players.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting too because, we're fans of Moneyball. Like, we like that movie and that concept that like numbers can tell a story. Numbers can prove a player's value. And sometimes you can just be on the opposite end of that. And I think that's where Alex Cora was because I think he was trying to prove that these players did have more value to them, but instead of the numbers proving that, the numbers were not proving that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's trying to vouch for his players against the stats that are shown on paper because the front office don't see the work that the guys are actually putting in and who has the best chance of breaking out and having a good performance.
Yeah, and word can only go so far because if you do look at the numbers, the Red Sox are in the bottom half of almost every team stat ranking, basically. So I really do hope that a change in how these players are managed and coached can, positively influence the performance because that's going to be essential if they even want to sniff a wild card slot this season.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to be very particular with who they're going to replace Alex Cora with because there are a lot of young guys on that team, and there are a lot of guys that could use that guidance and the experience from like a veteran manager and helping them get used to the major league level and the speed of the game at this point. A lot of those guys could use someone like that.
Yeah, some of the options for replacing Alex Cora, besides Chad Tracy, the interim manager, are actually David Ross, who was on the 2013 World Series team. So that would be cool. He also has some experience coaching the Cubs, so he wouldn't be a bad pick. We also have former Twins manager Rocco Baldelli. There's also the current Cubs bench coach Ryan Flaherty, and there's also former Orioles manager Brandon Hyde. I think Ross or Hyde would work best since Ross obviously has history in Boston and he seems like a nice guy and a pretty smart baseball mind. But Hyde, on the other side, he has experience managing in the AL East already and was able to make do with the rebuilding Orioles at the time and was able to show that these players have some glimpse of success. And hopefully the Orioles can actually pan out to that because I really do like the Orioles. But anyway, I think either of those guys work if they don't end up sticking with Tracy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Hyde would be a good choice because, like you mentioned, he does have that experience in the AL East. He has experience competing against those other teams a lot, so he knows what it takes to beat out some of these other teams. I also really like David Ross as an option because you mentioned he has a brilliant baseball mind. He played a huge role in success for both the Red Sox and the Cubs in both of their World Series years and that 2016 World Series as well. And I feel like catchers are just always typically great managers. Like they turn into great managers more than anyone else because you are in a way like the leader of the team. You're the only guy who can see every part of the field and the only one who really knows everything that's going on. So you have to be able to be vocal and communicate with your players. And that's exactly what you need from a manager too. So I think David Ross would be a great fit there for the Red Sox.
Yeah, and especially, being a catcher, like you're the last line of defense literally to prevent a run from scoring. So anything that happens, you're always thinking, how could this end up turning into a run scoring and what can I do to prevent that right now? And that is literally the same mindset that a manager needs to be in.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be able to think about every potential play, every possibility, everything that could happen, and what you're supposed to do if that happens. So we've seen what Stephen Vogt has been able to do with the Guardians over the last couple of years after retiring with the A's and then immediately becoming a manager and doing great with the Guardians. So yeah, I think David Ross would be a really, really good fit for the Red Sox.
Yeah, dude. And Stephen Vogt was able to do it with a payroll of $30.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the other manager that just got released today, Robbie Thompson of the Phillies. If you watched our last MLB video, which, by the way, wow, guys, thank you for those views. Holy crap. So there's actually a pretty high chance that you are coming from last MLB video. So if you are talking to you specifically, we both appreciate you.
Very much greatly. Yeah, the support has been very cool to see, and we very much appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. But like I was saying, if you came from last video, you would know just how hard the Phillies have been struggling lately. I mean, not only are they playing badly, they're getting unlucky while doing it, and that is the worst possible combination. Like, they actually have the largest negative run differential in baseball at negative 54, and it's not even necessarily that close either. And also, they are 1-9 in their last 10 games. So, this was also very, very necessary because even though the Red Sox and the Phillies are red teams, that doesn't mean they need to be playing in the red.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. It's been a really rough start for the Phillies as well. They were another team that I thought was going to be competing at the top of the division, and it's just been the complete opposite for them. Like they've been getting unlucky, they've been playing bad defense. Some of their guys are getting hurt. Like it's a long season, and there are times where the standings are going to flip in a week and teams are going to come out of nowhere and teams are going to struggle out of nowhere, but this is concerning for the Phillies. This is not how their season wanted to start at all, and the sooner they can make a change, the better. So I understand why they made this decision.
Yeah, exactly. And there are certain kinds of issues that are expected to pop up within a week to week circumstance. But then there are some issues that are very much bound to continue happening if nothing is done about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are some things that don't just go away over time. You have to actively make a change.
Yeah. And in the same boat that the Red Sox are in, the Phillies are in the bottom half, if not the very bottom of most team stat rankings. So they're literally the worst of the worst. And it's crazy because the Phillies have probably one of the more talented rosters in all of baseball. Like I love their core, both on the offense and the pitching side. Like I love their team, and it's just crazy how badly they're performing. Like Brandon Marsh is one of their top guys right now. And that's no diss to Brandon Marsh. But when your name is Bryce Harper, when your name is Kyle Schwarber, when your name is Christopher Sanchez, JT Realmuto, I could go on. You're supposed to be doing better than Brandon Marsh.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just from those guys that you listed off, the core that the Phillies have is extremely impressive, and the fact that they've been able to assemble it in the first place and are able to hang on to it as well as they have. I know they've lost some guys here and there, but for the most part, they have their main guys that they've been relying on. Like you mentioned, JT Romito, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber. These are their mainstay everyday guys, and a lot of them have not been performing well. Bryce Harper has been doing solid. Kyle Schwarber has a lot of homers, but he's not getting on base. He's got nine homers, only 17 hits though. So like the guys that we are used to playing very well, and they've just been off to a really slow start, and they've been really struggling. And they might just need a new person in charge in order to fix that.
Yeah. And Don Mattingly will be the interim manager until they can find a more permanent slot. And he's actually had some pretty good experience managing. I mean, he helped the Dodgers succeed in the early 2010s, multiple 80 and 90 win seasons. He also managed the rebuilding Miami Marlins during the late 2010s. So he has experience with star-studded and amateur rosters. So I think if they stuck with him, he wouldn't necessarily be a bad choice because I think he has a lot of experience to the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they just make him their full-time manager instead of the interim. Like, yeah, he does have a lot of experience. He has experience with successful teams, and the Phillies want to be a successful team. Obviously, every team does, but like the Phillies expect to be in the playoffs this year and basically every year. And if they're going to make it to that point, they need someone who has had experience and knows what to do in those big time situations like Don Mattingly.
Yeah, definitely. And what's really funny is Alex Cora has been talked about as an option to go to the Phillies.
Yeah, yeah, man. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they just like switch teams, if they just do a manager trade, honestly. Yeah, just Rob Thompson for Alex Cora.
Dude, imagine if the Phillies picked up Cora and then they end up going on to make the playoffs.
Gosh. Yeah, yeah. The World Series is going to be the Phillies and the Red Sox. It's going to be Rob Thompson with the Red Sox and Alex Cora with the Phillies.
Dude, that would be the most bizarre World Series outcome.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Yeah, the same guys that I mentioned earlier to be the Red Sox new manager are also listed as options to become manager for the Phillies, but there is one new guy in the mix for the Phillies here, and that's George Lombard, the Tigers bench coach, and he's built a reputation for being able to develop players pretty well. So being able to bring that to the table would be a big plus. So any of those guys are cool for me, but they got to do something because these players on the Phillies need to flip their switches. I mean, they literally have the potential to be close to 100 win roster, and they're aiming to get like 70.
Yeah, they need to make a change now. And I think Lombard would be a solid choice for them to go with because if you look at that Tigers team, a lot of those guys are homegrown and like home developed and guys that they drafted or traded for in the farm system and then developed them and called them up. You know, guys like Zach McKinstry, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter. Like these are guys that have been in the Tigers system for a while and they've all started to shine as great players. And a lot of that has to do with Lombard. So if he was able to go over to Philly and work his magic over there with guys like Justin Crawford or Andrew Painter, I think that would be great for them.
Yeah, 100%. So that's all the news really for the manager stuff. Now we're gonna talk about our boy. Since we're Angels fans, we gotta highlight the stuff that happens with the Angels stuff. Oh, ding 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 ding.
Angels giveaway.
Yes, sir. That's our boy. Mike Trout does another thing, becomes the Angels' all-time franchise leader in extra base hits at 797 after homering on April 26, passing the late Gary Anderson, RIP to him. But Trout continues to prove that he will be, if not already is, the best Angels player of all time.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about it at this point. I mean, you could argue like in terms of prime and what they were able to do that other players weren't able to do. Maybe Shohei you could talk about with what he was able to do pitching and hitting, but nobody has done what Trout has done over the span that he's done it in. 16 years, all as an Angel. It's just been so great to watch. And this season has been great to see for him because he is reminding everybody that, yeah, he is the best player of his generation. Like, hey guys, I'm Mike Trout. I'm the best player in the world. Like he is the best player of the 2010s. Like there's really no doubt about it. His prime is something that like we haven't seen in decades. And being able to watch what he's done has been so cool and so impressive. Like he's done this over 16 seasons, which is a similar time frame to a lot of the other guys close to him on the list. But the thing about Mike Trout is he has missed some time with injury. So he's got 1,000 or 2,000 less at bats than some of the guys close to him like Johnny Bench, Bernie Williams, Dale Murphy are all like close to him on extra base hits, and he's got 1,000 or 2,000 less at bats than them because he has been hurt. But when he's been healthy, he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, definitely. And he's already the Angels' all-time leader in WAR.
Yeah, he's just been the most valuable player to the Angels that we've ever had. Like those early years, those first like 4 or 5 years of his career, he was leading the American League in WAR every single year. He led the MLB in WAR 4 out of those 5 years, and he was doing this at the age of 20. 20 to 24 years old, he was the best player in the world, just doing things that we had never seen before. Probably would have had two more MVPs by now if it weren't for Aaron Judge and Miguel Cabrera, maybe even three if you count Otani too. Like Mike Trout is unbelievable, man.
Definitely. And the game that he did this in, was this not the most Angels game ever? Trout homers. We score a bunch of runs early. We got a nice, good cushion lead. We're like, okay, let's wrap it up. 2 outs in the ninth. Give up a 2-run homer to tie the game. Okay, whatever. All we need to do is just score one. We scored six. What's one? But then we do that. We take the lead in the 10th. We take the lead. And then we give up a 2-out, 3-run homer to lose the game. I mean, how much longer can we put Trout through this, man? I mean,
6, 7.
like he's played the most games in center field for the Angels ever, and all we've given him is a 3-game sweep in the ALDS.
Yeah, that's literally Mike Trout's highlights for the playoffs is striking out against the Royals to end the series, and that's the only opportunity that he's been given. He has not been given another chance, and it's been so disappointing to see. And we talk about like Paul Skeens pitching in Pittsburgh and getting DeGrom go like 7 or 8 innings, give up 2 runs and take the loss. I feel like Mike Trout is kind of the Jacob DeGrom on the offensive side because it feels like no matter what he does, he cannot win the game for his team because other players need to do things and the pitching needs to work and the hitters need to get on base, but it's just not working out. And he's doing everything he can. He has the most runs scored in the American League. Like he's literally back as 27, 28-year-old Mike Trout, and he's doing everything he can. He's playing in center field again. He switched up his off-season routine. He changed his training. He's healthier. He moved back to center. Like he's doing everything he can. He's like trying to be the guy and trying to be the leader and lead by example, but you can't carry the team by yourself, man.
No, you cannot. Yeah, it's really tough. And again, it's the pitching. It's always been the pitching. The bats have always been mid to pretty good, if not great at times. We've always had at least bare minimum a somewhat decent offense. That's never been a problem. But the pitching has always been the problem. We also actually talked about this in our last MLB video, I think, too. We haven't really had a good pitcher since Jared Weaver, really. Like for a consistent amount of time, because we were talking about, I think it was because we were talking about Jose Soriano.
Yeah, yeah, it was Jose Soriano was like literally the best thing we've gotten since Jared Weaver. We try to develop some guys and then we trade them away like Patrick Sandoval. We try to trade for or sign like older veterans like Yusei Kikuchi or Tyler Anderson, and it doesn't really work out, or we
Or
can't hang on to
Lucas
them.
Giolito.
Oh man, don't get me started on
Remember
Lucas
when we
Giolito.
traded away our whole farm system and then just let go of everyone we gave them away for?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was a good
dude.
time. And then we let Otani go to free agency after.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
a good time.
that was really good. That was a good idea.
That was a fun time. So good. But hey, fans don't have winning in the top five priorities, apparently.
Right, of course, of course. Fans don't care about winning; they care about affordability. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And parking's gone up.
Yeah, yeah. Concessions are getting more expensive, and yeah.
Yeah, they also found rat droppings in one of the concession stands a couple days ago.
Oh, nice. That's sick. Hell yeah. That's good. That's gonna help with our reputation, I'm sure.
You know, you just got to stick through it. You just got to stick through it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to look on the bright side, talking about Mike Trout specifically, because that's kind of one of the only bright sides of the Angels right now. Mike Trout has 9 homers already. If he plays a full season, if he stays healthy, I'm knocking on wood many, many times. If Mike Trout can stay healthy, he's on pace for a 50 homer season right now. So he's just been super hot. He's been playing great. He's been healthy. He's feeling good. So if we can get more healthy Mike Trout, he's got a lot left in the tank, and there's a lot more that he can do.
Yeah, man. Gosh, I hope so. But yeah, that has been the news, the stories in MLB that we've been able to discuss today. But we will be dropping more MLB stuff soon. We're covering The Boys right now. We're covering Daredevil right now. We just released a trailer breakdown of Clayface that looks awesome. And we're going to be covering a lot more Marvel and DC stuff as it comes down the line, as well as, like I just said, more baseball because we cannot get enough. We cannot get enough. But hopefully, yeah, there you go. Good job. But we really hope to see you on the next one, and we hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace.